Okay, so these were the topics: meaning and definition of constitution, different kinds or different types of constitutions. Is my internet not stable? Is it breaking my voice?
Right now it is clear.
Okay, you can let me know, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, little bit.
Little bit breaking, is it? Okay, you can let me know if it happens again, okay? So meaning and definition of constitution, different types or different kinds of constitution, constitutionalism and features of constitution we have seen. So constitutionalism, do you remember what it was? Constitutionalism, it's nothing but a philosophy that we have.
Limited.
Yes, limited powers.
Limited government.
Government would have limited power, constitution would be supreme. Like that, and we see some features as well for that in Constitution of India also. Like a state by the Constitution, Article 21, we have fundamental rights, we have, which clearly specifies what the state should not do for us to be able to enjoy the rights. Indian Constitution. So fundamental rights and directive principles both are included in your Constitution 1 syllabus. So when you look at these fundamental rights, right, it usually starts with a negative obligation on the state. Okay, the state shall not deny, the state shall not discriminate, as in what the state should not do so that we are in a position to enjoy our rights. That's the main focus of fundamental rights. Okay, mostly it is telling what the state should not do. But when you look at directive principles, on the other hand, directive principles tells the state what it should do. Okay, like the state shall strive to promote. Okay, the state shall direct its policies. The state shall secure, as in what the state should do so that we are able to enjoy some welfare schemes and stuff like that. That's how we see the provisions. Okay, so fundamental rights, then having a written constitution, everything is very clearly specified. Separation of powers also, so that one organ or one body of the government do not become like a dictator or something like that, but there is separation of power. Three organs are there, and there is checks and balances as well that we see. Then features of constitution, we saw features of Indian Constitution. Now the next part that we have is, and this is something which is as such not like you will get a question on this, but yes, you can refer it. Okay, take for example, you are studying maybe directive principles of state policy. Okay, and you are to write an answer for that. There you can specify that this concept of directive principles of state policy was borrowed from Irish Constitution. Like that, this information becomes relevant for you. Okay, so like citizenship, from UK we got the concept of single citizenship. From US we got the concept of fundamental rights. Like that, these provisions become important. Okay, so before citizenship, we have one topic on parliament, preamble. We will see that. Let me open it. Okay, so preamble to the Constitution of India. Now, preamble is something which you will see for most of the legislations. It starts with a preamble. Okay, so when we talk about Indian Constitution also, it starts with a preamble, which is nothing but it gives us a brief idea on what we can expect inside the Constitution. Like how when we buy novels or when we buy storybooks, on the backside, a narration would be given, right? That this is what this book is all about. And by reading that one paragraph, we decide whether to buy this book or not. right? As in, we get an idea that this is what we can expect inside the book. Same ways when we talk about legislations, preamble is something like that. We get an idea on what is there inside the legislation. Okay, so Constitution of India, also when we talk about its preamble, it gives us an idea on what all things we can get and what those different provisions that we have in different articles, what is the main idea of inserting those provisions, we get an idea for that. Okay, so this is what the preamble is all about. And when we talk about preamble, it's something which records the aims and aspirations of people of India, which have been translated into various provisions of the constitution. As in, first of all, why we needed a constitution. There must have been some like some aims and aspirations, right? In order to achieve these things, we need constitution. Like that, it must have come into existence. So when you look at the constitution or the preamble to the constitution, you get to know about those aims and aspirations, what we want to achieve by having this constitution. We get a fair idea about it. And these aims and aspirations, how we will achieve it? We will achieve it by inserting different articles or different provisions that are there. Okay, so what is the main purpose of adding a certain provision? We get an idea regarding it. Like just to give an example, we have something called as right to religion. Okay, religious freedom. That's nothing but a fundamental right. It's inserted as a fundamental right. Articles, this one. 25 to 28, right to freedom of religion. Now, you might ask that why is this thing included as a fundamental right? What was the need of including this certain right? Other rights are fine, equality, freedom, all that stuff. What was the need for inserting freedom of religion? So you will get that answer when you look at the preamble, which says secular. India is a secular country. So we are all free to practice, profess, propagate any religion that we want. And that's why it's inserted as a fundamental right. As in, we get to know why a certain provision was being added. Now, what is the object, purpose, and scope of preamble? When you look at other provisions or other different articles, it's either giving some powers to somebody, it is putting some limitations, or it is specifying some duties, obligations, etc. Right? When you talk about fundamental rights, it's imposing obligation on the state what it should not do. When you look at directive principles, it's imposing obligation on the state that what it should do or giving a direction on what the state should do. Similarly, we have provisions relating to emergency. That tells us what should happen in during times of emergency. So those provisions are having something to provide, right? It's either giving powers, putting limitations, specifying rights and obligations. Something is there. But when you look at preamble does not grant any power to anyone. It's not saying that this power is given to president, governor, nothing like that. It does not grant any power. It does not put any limitations on anyone, but it just gives a direction and purpose to the constitution. We get to know that, okay, these are the things that India tries to achieve by way of having this constitution. We get a clear idea on why different provisions were added in the constitution. Okay, now there is one question which is being asked, that if preamble is not giving any powers to anyone, if preamble is not putting any restrictions on anyone, if preamble is just the starting of constitution, introductory statement of constitution, can we consider preamble to be a part of constitution, or is it something outside the constitution? Right, because preamble is nothing but like a summary of constitution or an introductory statement of constitution. We say it like that. So if it's an introductory statement or if it's just a summary, is preamble a part of constitution or not? Okay, and secondly, can we amend the preamble or not? Can we make changes in the preamble or not? Okay, so when you look at the constitution, it provides for all the different articles and stuff. Also, within the constitution itself, we have a provision relating to its amendment. It is Article 368. That it's not that in 1950 constitution became applicable and same provisions would apply forever. We need to make some changes with time. So how those changes will be made, that provision is given in this article, Article 368. Okay, so the question is whether we can make changes in preamble under this article or not, because it's something outside the constitution. It's an introductory statement. So can we consider preamble as part of constitution, and can it be amended under Article 368 or not? And those two questions were answered in these two cases. First one is Ray Berubari Union case, wherein it was said that preamble is not a part of constitution. It is something which is outside the constitution, and because it's not a part of constitution, we cannot make changes in the preamble under powers specified in Article 368. So Article 368 gives Parliament the power to make changes in constitution. That power can be applied in the remaining constitution, but not in the preamble. Okay, that is what was specified in this case. But later on, that decision was changed by Kesavananda Bharati case, wherein it was said that no, preamble is also a part of constitution. It's not something outside the constitution. Preamble is very much a part of constitution. And because it's a part of constitution, we can make changes to it under Article 368. And in fact, we can change any part of the constitution. Okay, Article 368 is so broad that we can make changes in any part of constitution, whether it's preamble, fundamental rights, directive principles, or in fact, Article 368 itself can be changed by using this power. But there is just one condition, which is nothing but we cannot change the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, have you heard of this basic structure theory? Anywhere have you come across it? Basic structure?
No, ma'am.
No,
No, ma'am.
no. Okay. So basic structure theory mainly says that like a structure, right? If we talk about human, right? We all might look different. We all might have different sizes, different weight, different heights, etc. But the structure is same, right? We all have 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 head. That is nothing but the basic structure of a human. Same ways, constitution is also having something called as basic structure. Okay, so you can make changes in any part of constitution under Article 368, but that basic structure or basic framework cannot be changed. Okay, so take for example, you can make changes in fundamental rights, directive principles, and all that stuff. But what you cannot do, like constitution is supreme law of land, right? So tomorrow you cannot bring an amendment and say that no, from today, constitution is not supreme, but rather Indian Penal Code would be supreme. IPC would be supreme. Constitution would come under IPC. That you cannot do by way of amendment. That's nothing but changing the basic structure. Okay, then we have a democratic form of government. You cannot say that from tomorrow we are not going to have a democratic form of government, rather we would have a dictatorship. Those things are not possible. Okay, so that's nothing but what is basic structure. And as such, we don't have a definition of what basic structure is, but courts are free to include new things from time to time if they feel like that this is also basic structure. All right, so this case is very important because it gave us very much clarity that under Article 368, you make changes in any part of constitution, no restrictions, but only condition is that you cannot change that basic structure of Indian constitution. All right, now because we are saying that we can make changes in the preamble also. Preamble is also like a part of constitution. We can make changes in it. So have we seen any amendments that is being made to the preamble of Indian constitution? So there was just one amendment, only for once preamble was amended. That was in 1976 by way of 42nd Constitution Amendment Act. And this is such a broad amendment. It changed so many provisions in the constitution. When you study different topics within constitution, right, you will come across this amendment act many times. So many changes were introduced by way of this amendment act that this amendment act is itself called as a mini constitution in itself. So many changes it introduced. Okay, so by way of this same amendment, preamble was also been amended. How it was amended? It inserted 3 words in the preamble: socialist, secular, and integrity. These 3 words were added. Now, when you look at the constitution, right? Yeah, so this is the preamble, right? When you are reading it, see, you will get the details relating to amendment also. When you read, with the people of India, this, there is one footnote, right? One, and within bracket, this is written. So footnotes would always give you some information relating to amendments and stuff like that. Okay, so you can refer this footnote, what it has to say. Substituted by Constitution 42nd Amendment Act 1976. What it was substituted? Sovereign, democratic, and republic. As in previously, in the preamble, we had these 3 words: sovereign, democratic, and republic. But these 3 words were substituted in 1976 by way of 42nd Amendment Act. And what was inserted? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. As in socialist and secular were 2 new words which were inserted by way of this amendment. Similarly, when you read more, and you will see there is one more footnote here: unity and integrity of the nation. When you read it, substituted by same like what it is, right? AIBE, as in the previous one, similar, as in by 42nd Amendment Act only. Unity of the nation was substituted by unity and integrity. So integrity word is being inserted, and this provision had effect from 3rd of January 1977. Okay, so this is what we have regarding the preamble to Indian Constitution. Just one amendment, these words were being added. Now, why these words were added? Because when you talk about secular, already Constitution of India had this provision of freedom of religion. Since the time it became applicable, since that time itself, we had the provision of freedom of religion. So it was realized that already India is a secular country. We have this as a fundamental freedom also, just that this is not indicated in the preamble. So this word was added. Same ways, India is a socialist country when you look at the provisions of directive principles. So they decided that this word also should be included, so that preamble is actually giving a reflection of what can be find inside the constitution. Same happens for integrity as well. So these were added by way of amendment. Okay, this part is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we have these different words that are used in the preamble, and what these different words mean. Like it starts with "we the people of India." So preamble begins with the word "we the people of India," which clearly indicates the source of authority of the constitution. As in, constitution is something that we have given to ourselves so that we can abide by this constitution and the country would be governed by it. Okay, then we see that it talks about what kind of a country we want India to be. Okay, so it starts with "we the people of India." indicating the source of authority. And after that, it tells us what kind of a country we want India to be. So we want India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic country. Then it tells us about what we want to achieve by way of this constitution. What is it that we want to provide to people of India? So we want to provide justice, liberty, equality, and promote fraternity. And last thing that we see in the preamble is when the constitution was adopted. So 26th of November 1949, the constitution of India was adopted. And we gave this constitution to ourselves. Okay, so this first thing is we the people of India. Secondly, it tells us about what kind of a country we want India to be. So first of all, we want India to be a sovereign country. So what is sovereign? Have you studied this anywhere? Maybe political science if you had that subject in college or somewhere?
Maybe only during
No.
school days, not in college.
School days you had, yes. So what do you remember what it is? Sovereign? Sovereign
Not able
is
to
nothing but
recollect
we are
exactly.
not recognizing legal supremacy of any other country. Okay, so it is sometimes said that independent, as in India is independent, as in Britishers are no more ruling us. When we say sovereign, it means that while taking our decisions, right, we are free to take those decisions ourselves. We are not as such recognizing supremacy of any other country. We would not as such take approval or recognition from any other foreign country. We are free to take our own decisions. When we say free to take our own decisions, sovereignty can be of two different types, okay? Internal and external sovereignty. So what is internal sovereignty? As in something within India. Internally within India, whatever is happening, we are free to take that decision ourselves. Okay? Like we have different legislations. When a legislation is being passed, it's just the parliament who will do it, and then we would require president's approval. We don't ask for approval from a foreign country, right? That's nothing but internal sovereignty. During COVID, we had seen that there was nationwide lockdown, then there was demonetization few years back. All those big decisions also, we did not take approval of any other foreign country. And those were decisions internally which affected the country, right? So that's nothing but internal sovereignty. Whatever decisions we take internally that applies in India, we are free to take that decision. When we talk about external sovereignty, it's nothing but India's relation with other foreign countries. Might be if there is economic crisis going on in Pakistan, should we be helping them or not? If there is economic crisis going on in Sri Lanka, should we allow them to, like migrate to our country or not? All of these decisions we are taking ourselves, right? That's nothing but external sovereignty, how India is going to deal with other foreign countries. Maybe because of COVID, we are putting restrictions on travel of passengers from a certain country because there is a lot of COVID cases. COVID cases are increasing. There also, India is taking its own decision whether to put some restrictions or not to put restrictions. That's nothing but external sovereignty. Okay, so both internally and externally, India is a sovereign country. And we do not recognize legal supremacy of any other country under constitution. Okay. Now, talking about socialist, socialist is also a word that we get in economics. Okay, so socialist is what? It is nothing but it tries to promote that ownership of means of production, distribution, and exchange remains with the state. Okay, state ownership, it promotes that, and it says that the state should work for betterment of life of people and equality of opportunities. It should not happen that the state is not taking any active part, and the economic policies of the state are such that The rich is becoming richer, poor is becoming poorer. There is no scheme for betterment of life of people. People are not getting equality in terms of opportunity. Those things should not happen. Okay, so socialist is something which promotes all of these, and we get provisions relating to it under directive principles of state policy, wherein the state is having a direction that whenever you are introducing your schemes, policies, you should try to ensure that you are helping those who are in need. Might be old age related benefits, maybe unemployment related benefits, disability related benefits. Those should be introduced so that we can ensure better life for people. And all those directive principles were already there in the constitution, just that this term socialist was not there in preamble, so it was added by 42nd Amendment Act. Same ways, when you talk about secular, it's also something we get to see under fundamental rights, articles 25 to 28, but just that provision was not there in preamble, so later on it was also added. So under this, it means that all religions will get same importance in India. People are free to practice, profess, propagate any religion of their own. In case government is providing any support for promotion of a religion, there also it should not discriminate. Okay, maybe there are some schools which are established by these religious groups also, right? Have you seen, like, there is something called as high madrasa? Have you come across that? It's like a board itself for schools, like how we have CBSE state board, right? Like that, there is something called as high madrasa. Have you heard of it?
Yes, madrasa school, which will be like a Muslim
Yes.
run schools.
Muslim run school, correct. And it's not like they would need to follow CBSE or state board. They can develop their own curriculum, own syllabus, own exams they will have, and they can give certificates also, like 10 plus 10 boards and all that stuff also they can do. So those are nothing but schools established by religious minority groups, and that is a fundamental right given under constitution, okay, that you can open such religious minority schools as well. Now, first of all, constitution says that you can open such a school based on this religious minority thing, right? So for example, in Karnataka, okay, in Karnataka, maybe in a certain district of Karnataka, there are 5 primary schools. Okay, 5 primary schools. 4 are like state-run primary schools, and 1 is run by minority, might be Muslim minority madrasa school. Now, if an amount of 40 lakhs rupees funds is being issued, maybe from central government, saying that this fund should be used in this district for betterment of primary education. For primary education, there are only these 5 schools, right? Now what happens? This amount of 40 lakhs rupees should be distributed for betterment of primary school. So while distributing this amount, the government in that district or government of Karnataka should not discriminate that, okay, fine, these 4 are state-run schools. Let's distribute 10 lakhs each and let this school suffer because it is run by a minority group. That should not happen, okay, because otherwise this term would have no meaning. That on one hand you are giving religious freedom, you are allowing them to set up schools and all, but on the other hand you are discriminating. That should not happen. All right, so secular provisions we do get to see under articles 25 to 28, and a lot of times cases are being filed under these provisions as well. Like the recent one, Karnataka, this hijab case, right? There also these provisions, under these provisions only it was being filed, that religious freedom is being violated, right? So these are something wherein we get a lot of cases also. So just because we already had these fundamental freedoms inserted, this word secular was also added in preamble to Constitution of India to give a better picture of what we can see inside Constitution. Then, by way of Constitution, we want India to be a democratic country. So democratic is derived from two Greek words, demos, which means people, and kratos, which means authority. So it's nothing but a government by the people, for the people, of the people. It is government by the people. From amongst us, we can take part in elections if we want. By the people, for the people. Government is for betterment of the people, for ruling the people, for taking decisions, and of the people. From amongst us only, we have only selected, and we are only selecting our representatives, and that's how government is formed. Right? So democratic form of government is also something which we see provisions under Constitution of India, and wherein power or authority government is getting from will of the people expressed in the form of elections. So in elections, we would select our representatives, and that's how the government would be formed. Then talking about republic, wherein head of the state is elected by people directly or indirectly. President is not like a hereditary monarch or something. It's not like president's son or daughter only can become president. But this post is also pretty much open for anybody who can fulfill the conditions that are mentioned. So president, who is the head of the state, is not a hereditary monarch, but rather he is also elected for a fixed duration, and he is elected directly or indirectly by the people only. So India is a republic country as well. Okay, so these are what we want India to be as a country: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. And for that, we have different provisions also under various parts of the constitution. Okay, and the third part that we see in preamble is what is it that we want to provide to the people of India by way of this constitution. Okay, so what we want to provide? We want to provide justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Okay, so what is justice now? When we talk about justice, there are different types or different forms of justice. Okay, first one being social justice. So what is social justice? We live in a society, right? For us to be able to live peacefully in the society, we require social justice, which is nothing but equal social status we should be able to enjoy, and equitable sharing of whatever provisions we have in the society. Like in earlier times, untouchability and systems like that used to prevail, right? So in order to remove those things, we have fundamental rights being added under Constitution of India. See, abolition of untouchability. Untouchability in any form should not exist. It is forbidden. That's nothing but it ensures social equality, social justice, right? That nobody would discriminate, nobody would practice this kind of behavior. There is something called as prohibition of discrimination. On any of these grounds, we should not discriminate amongst people. Okay, if there is like a public shop, public restaurant, hotels, places of public entertainment, wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads, all these things are if there, we cannot say that this bathing ghat is used by higher caste people, so lower caste people cannot use it. If this road is used by some lower caste people, they need to pay some additional taxes or something like that. Those things will not prevail in India. And that's how we want to ensure social justice, that irrespective of a person's religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, they will enjoy similar social status. There will not be discriminations that would prevail on the basis of it. That's nothing but social justice, so that we are able to live peacefully in the society by enjoying some basic minimum rights. Then we also talk about economic justice, which is nothing but equitable distribution of wealth among individual members of the society. Now, when we say equitable distribution of wealth amongst the people, is it possible that everyone will be involved in different jobs, different profession, different vocation, different businesses, and everybody would get the same salary? That's not possible, right? We cannot pay same salary to each and every person of the society just in the name of economic justice. So how do we ensure economic justice even though we are having differences in terms of income of a person? So we can ensure it by way of provisions like, you can say, Income Tax Act. Okay, so even though there are a huge majority of people who are earning some or the other amount, everyone is not bound to pay income tax, right? Income Tax Act has divided people in different earning slabs. Only if you are earning above a certain amount, you are liable to pay income tax. If below that you are earning, you are not even supposed to pay a single rupee as income tax. And while that earning thing also, different slabs are there, right? You need to pay 5%, 10%, 12%, like that it would vary. So this is nothing but a provision to ensure economic justice. Otherwise, if government would have said that irrespective of your income, you need to pay 50,000 income tax. For somebody who might be earning 50,000 in the entire year, it would not make any sense. It would not be justice for that person. And for someone who is earning 50 crores, for that person, that amount is nothing. Right? So we need to ensure economic justice, and Income Tax Act is like a major example of that. Same ways you would see there are provisions like this below poverty line. Many benefits are being given to them. There are things like economically weaker sections, some benefits are given to them, right? Certain things are free for some people, right? Maybe for unemployed people, some free trainings would be provided. All these are nothing but it ensures economic justice. Free ration is being provided, economic justice. Even though there are differences in income, we ensure that economic justice prevails by way of different ways. Then we have political justice. Now, in terms of politics also, we have equal rights in political participation. We are pretty much free to take part in elections also. We can take part in elections as well, right? We can apply for different posts that are there. Same ways, after attaining a certain age, if we have registered ourselves as an eligible voter, we can give our votes also. So that is nothing but political justice. Politics is again pretty much open for all of us. Okay, justice is clear, right? 3 types of justice.
Yes, ma'am.
Next one we have, so all these provisions you would also get to see in different like fundamental rights, directive principles and all that also. Talking about the next thing that Constitution India wants to achieve or provide to its people by way of Constitution is liberty or freedoms. So liberty implies absence of restrictions or domination on activities of individuals. Certain basic freedom we require, certain basic liberties we require, and that is also provided to us by way of fundamental rights. Okay, like Preamble talks about liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. All these rights we get to see, right? Faith, belief, and worship we get to see in religious freedoms. Liberty of thought and expression we get to see under the freedoms, Article 19, which is like a very common of fundamental right as well. So these basic liberties is also something that Constitution wants to provide to its people, so that again we are able to maintain like a better life. Then it talks about equality also. Now, what do you think equality is?
Treating everybody at par.
Treating everybody
at par.
Okay. So when we talk about equality, we tend to think that it's like giving everyone the same thing. Okay, but equality does not mean giving everyone the same thing actually. Okay, what is equality? It is absence of privileges or discrimination against any section of the society. When we say absence of any sort of privileges or discrimination, it does not mean that everyone should be treated equally, everyone should be given the same thing. But it rather means like should be treated alike. Whoever is in a similar position, similar situation, they should be treated similarly. If someone else is at a different position, different situation, you can treat that person differently. That is what equality is. Okay, there is this image which explains it very clearly. So if we are to watch this match going on, What equality would mean is not like giving everyone the equal thing, but under constitution it says that it's not needed that you give everyone the same thing. If you are giving one stool to each of these, it does not make sense, because this person do not require anything. His height is, he is having enough height. This kid, it's fine, one stool. But for this kid, we need two stools for him to be able to see. So what is equality? Whoever is in a similar situation, treat them similarly. This person is anyways in a better position. You don't need any, he don't need any support. This one is enough. This one, two is enough. Now, if another kid of this height comes, you need to treat that kid similarly. You give two tools to him. If another one comes of this height, you do not need to give anything. If another one of this height comes, you need to give one stool. As in, people in similar situations should be treated similarly. It should not happen one kid of this height you are giving two stools, another kid you are not giving. That should not happen. Okay, so equality does not mean give everyone the same thing, but rather it means like should be treated alike. Whoever is in a similar situation, they should be treated similarly. That's what equality is as per constitution. Okay, so you must be aware there is an exam called CLAT for law entrance. Have you heard of it? Common law
CLAT
admission
exams.
test.
Yes.
So it's just one exam that we have, okay? And it is to get admission for both UG, undergraduate and postgraduate program. So if you want to do LLB also, you need to appear for CLAT. If you want to do LLM also, you need to appear for CLAT. Okay, so it's technically the same exam. Same universities are included in this exam. Now, we cannot say that how come for the same exam CLAT, wherein same universities are included, how come we are having two different syllabuses for UG and PG? How come two different exam, two different question papers are set for UG and PG? We cannot say that, because whoever is applying for undergraduate, they have not studied law. They do not have any knowledge of law. They simply completed 10+2. They are appearing for the exam. So while setting their question paper, less of legal questions would be there, more of maths, general knowledge, English, and all that stuff would be there. But when we talk about these students who are applying for LLM, they have already spent 5 or 3 years of their life studying law. So their question paper would be broadly based on legal questions, right? So this is something which is permitted. We cannot say that this is inequality, because same exam they are appearing, same universities they will be going, but two different question papers, two different syllabus. We cannot say that. Okay, and this difference in treatment that we are making, right, it is called as intelligible differentia. We are treating them differently, correct? There is differentia. They are being treated differently. But why are they treated differently? Is it just like that, or there is some reasoning behind it? Okay, some logical reasoning should be there. So if somebody says that this is not justified, how come two different syllabus, how come two different question papers, we can justify it, that they have just completed 10+2, they have already studied enough of law. So that's how it is justified that they can be treated differently. Okay, so intelligible differentia is what is permitted when we talk about equality under Constitution of India. It's just that like should be treated alike. You cannot say that, okay, undergraduate only, few students will study this syllabus, few students would study that syllabus. That should not happen, because there is no logic behind it. But this one, there is a logic. That's nothing but intelligible differentia. These sort of differences in treatment is permitted under Constitution. Okay, then we have fraternity, which means the feeling of brotherhood. So this feeling of brotherhood, again, we have provision under fundamental duties. See, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst people, whatever differences we have in terms of religion, race, language, and all that, irrespective of that, we should have a feeling of brotherhood. We all belong to India. So that's also something which Constitution of India promotes. It's also by way of providing single citizenship, we can say these feelings are being promoted. Same fundamental rights apply to us, same fundamental duties apply to us. So we all are part of one country, even though there are many differences within the people of India. And last one that we get to see is dignity. So Constitution of India also wants to ensure dignity of people. Okay. Now, what is dignity of people? We can say that some fundamental rights are guaranteed to us, right? It ensures dignity, that we are able to live a better life. It's not like mere animal existence. We are just somehow being able to survive. It should not happen like that, but rather we are in a position to live a dignified life just because we have multiple fundamental rights given to us. For example, there is Article 21, which talks about right to life and personal liberty. And it says that even in some cases, death penalty is also justified if, based on provisions of law, death penalty is given to a person, right? Now, just because somebody is found guilty by the court, he is given death penalty, public hanging should not be allowed. Earlier, public hanging used to be allowed, right? Early morning in the news, we will get to say this person is hanged in this place, and public can also witness it. Have you seen that in news? It used to come many years back.
No.
You have not seen, is it? Okay, so
No.
when talking about death penalty, right? Public hanging was previously allowed. That this person has done this wrong, he is been given death penalty, public can also witness it. But then later on, it was realized that we should not do it. The person has done something wrong, fine, you give him death penalty. But why to make it like a show wherein public would gather, they would see him dying, right? That is nothing but it's affecting his dignity. Even though the person is about to die within next few minutes, he still has a right to live that last few seconds of his life with human dignity. Okay, that's why public hanging was also banned, that it is not allowed. Now we come to know only after it has taken place, we come to know this person was hanged, right? So this is also nothing but talking about dignity. We have this right. Same ways, just because a person has committed a crime, maybe court has also found him guilty, he is convicted, this handcuffing is also prohibited unless and until you have like a valid reason and a strong ground of doing it, that maybe there are instances where the person tried to escape or something like that. Handcuffing is also prohibited. Might be while you are taking the person to the court for trial, or might be wherever applicable, handcuffing is also prohibited because it's also something which affects human dignity. Okay, so unless and until there is like a strong reason or ground, that is also prohibited. That's also nothing but something which ensures dignity of people. Okay, so there are many fundamental rights which also ensure dignity. When you look at Article 21 of Constitution for that matter, Article 21 of Constitution, it says, no person shall be deprived of his life and personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. Now, when we say no person shall be deprived of his life, that means we have a right to be alive. We have a right to survive. But does this mean just mere animal existence wherein we have food, clothing, and shelter? Are these three things enough for us to live a better life? Answer is no. Apart from that, we require whatever is needed to make our life better. Maybe we need access to internet to make our life better. We need education to make our life better. We need freedom to travel abroad. We need clean air, clean environment. All of those are also nothing but part of it, which ensures we are able to live a life with human dignity. Okay, so this is also something we get to see in the preamble to Constitution itself. Okay, is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, this preamble part I will add in this document. Okay, it's not added in this unit 1 thing. I will add it there and then I will share the document with you for unit 1. Okay, we have preamble left, constitution 1. Preamble is done. We have citizenship part left from this.
Ma'am, what kind of question we can expect out of this topic, what we have dealt today and in the last class?
Yeah, in the previous classes.
Yeah, so
Because we have internals coming from Feb 6th. So at
from
least,
when?
you know, if we could. From February 6th.
February 6th. Okay. So there is one separate document wherein I have tried to add few questions as well as answers. You can refer that. Okay. I will share that also. So it's nothing but like what are the values or objectives enshrined in the preamble, write a short note on preamble to Constitution of India. Like that only mostly questions are there. Okay. There is one separate document on the questions. I will share this with you. So how many units are covered for that?
Still, I mean, we haven't,
Portion
still
is
not
yet to be
sure.
written. Okay. So these are some questions from previous year paper. Define constitution. What are the different kinds of constitutions? Salient features of Indian constitution. Write a short note on constitutionalism. Write a note on preamble. Explain the objectives enshrined there. Can preamble be amended or not? What are the objectives enshrined in preamble?
Ma'am, also, do you have questions from previous question papers?
Yeah, I do have that. Yeah, like this one is one. This one is one. The question papers are easily available. You can simply search KSLU Constitution 1 question paper. You will get it easily available online. Okay, I think I have just saved 1 or 2 might be question papers. Yeah, 3 question papers I have saved, not more because it's easily available anyways. So you can check that. I will anyway share this one. You can see there was one question which was like, can a company or corporation be a citizen or not? This also I saw somewhere in one question paper. So you can read these answers from here. Okay. So citizenship, we will continue tomorrow then.